Cheers, everybody. How you doing? It's just me for a bit, but welcome to NBA Happy Hour. Here, part of the Riverfront Media Network and part of Blue Wire. I'm Tim Daniel, and this is the place where we have a beverage and we talk some basketball. I did not think I would see Pat Magooch on a Thursday night at a stream. What's up, Pat? How are you? Good to see you. Well, I don't know where Sean and Parker are. They should be on any minute now. I know Sean was running a little behind, but let's talk some hoops, shall we? How's everybody enjoying conference finals week? There is a lot to get to. Um, right now, we are recording during the Celtics and the Pacers. Boston has a 40-27 lead at the moment, and looks like they're starting to run away with this one for game two to take a 2-0 lead, which is a bummer, but kind of what we expected, right? This Boston team is kind of running through the East and has kind of done their thing. Pat says, "I'm just glad the Knicks are out." There are a lot of our listeners who agree with you, so I'm with you on that, man. I don't necessarily hate this Knicks team, but I've not liked the Knicks most of my life. Um, so yeah, I always root against them for my fandom of the '90s. Let's go through some of this stuff, shall we? If you guys are in the chat, welcome. Send your questions and comments. We'll happily read along with them while I wait for the other guys to come along. And we'll just get into it. So let's start with the other game. So let's start with Western Conference Finals between last night we had Dallas and Minnesota. And dude, what an unbelievable performance from Kyrie and Luca in that arena. Uh, there is just so much that you can go through there. Pat says, I don't like Patrick Ewing. There can only be one Pat. That's fair. Man, so that game was crazy, right? There's a lot of going back and forth. There's a lot of fights in there, but watching Kyrie close out these games is pretty unbelievable. And you saw him do it again last night. Just kind of put, him and Luka obviously as a tandem. Let me pull my notes up here real quick. So I'm sure this is just beautiful, beautiful content. So here we go. All right. So we had Luka with 33 and Kyrie with 30. The two combined for 24 made baskets on 49 shots. That's pretty insane, especially considering they combined they hit 3 threes. Just an unbelievable performance. They got another good game from PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford. Derek Lively stepped up huge with 9 points and 11 rebounds and just stuck through it, man, right? Like it looked like Minnesota was about to run away with it at times. The arena was nuts. They were super into the game. And then you kind of just saw them kind of put their foot to the pedal to the metal and take over. And it's been a long time since we've seen Kyrie do that, right? It's just been something where he's had this, I guess you could say he's had this like LeBron like cloud over him since he left Cleveland. Obviously he was on those Celtics teams that won some series. But one of those years he's hurt. He's not in the Eastern Conference Finals in 18. And 19, they beat Indiana in the first round. And then they go and they lose in the second round to Milwaukee. And then the next year he goes to Brooklyn. He sits out the bubble. The year after that, Brooklyn goes to the playoffs. And I believe that's the year they lose to Milwaukee in 7 when Durant has his foot on the line and it's like mere inches away from them winning the title. I really believe that team would have won the title. And then you kind of get into another situation too where Brooklyn just seems to run out of luck for a little while. They get swept the next year. And then now he's here in Dallas. And so seeing some of the things he does, we talk about this every week. This year has been the most fun year to watch Kyrie Irving play basketball probably since 2017, in the sense that you didn't have to read some psycho insane story about him off the court. You didn't have to read something about some crazy thing he shared on the internet or some weird thing about the earth being flat. None of that. It was just hooping. And he was awesome. Don't necessarily love the Antas sneakers. But I think that what he was able to do, and of course, we could talk about Kyrie all the time. Luka was unreal as always. And you look at what he was able to put together and, this is his second conference finals now. So it's his chance to kind of get there and make something happen. On the other end, you have Minnesota. And when you look at this game on their side, I don't necessarily think they played bad. I just think that Dallas was better than them down the stretches. And there are definitely things to point out. They shot horribly. Mike Conley only taking 7 shots, going 2 of 7. Anthony Edwards going 6 of 16. Towns going 6 of 20. You're gonna have a hard time winning when three of your best players are doing that on those 3 of your best offensive players. Jay McDaniels gave them a big bucket, and then Rudy Gobert was really solid. And then, they got big games again from Naz Reid, Kyle Anderson. So I think they're still. I picked Minnesota to win the series. I still think they will. I thought Game 1 was pretty tricky, and I thought the way it went was pretty solid. Yeah, Pat, I'm with you. I like this team a lot too. Bear with me. And I think that we're kind of now in this situation where, if you're Dallas, you always feel really good. Like that's the goal when you're on the road in a playoff series, right? Take at least one on the road, split on the road and games 1 and 2, and then go to home for games 3 and 4 and try to take over the series, get home court advantage and shorten the series. That's the goal. And they accomplished that no matter what happens in game 2 on Friday or Saturday. Regardless, they managed to make happen what they needed to do. I still think Minnesota's gonna be fine. I fully suspect Chris Finch will have those guys back at it, and they'll win the next game. And then we'll go from there and go 1-1 to Dallas. That makes that series even more enticing because on the other end of things, if you look at Indiana and Boston, I've loved this Pacers team all year. I haven't shied away from that. This is kind of what we expected so far. And they had a chance. I mean, they looked really, really good most of game 1 and let the game slip away. So that was really disappointing. As we know, my Celtic haterness is speaking there. So this is going to be really interesting to see how things play out. Yeah, Pat, I definitely agree. It is nice to see new teams. I like to see that. So this is the 6th year in a row that the league's going to have a new champion. So that's pretty awesome without having a repeating winner. So since the Raptors won it in 19, no one's gone back to back. So the Raptors 19, Lakers. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. Boston's just too much, man. Even with what's up, Sydney? How are you? Good to see you. As you can see, I'm all by myself right now. And I think when you look at right now, like with Boston, I mean, India's cutting into it right now. They're down 8. So that's pretty awesome. I like Halliburton a lot. I like this team a lot. I just think they're a little bit away. I think next year they're probably gonna be a hot commodity for teams, for players who want to go play there. They're definitely going to be the trade talks. I can imagine them kind of get multiple guys. Getting Ben Mathurin back after the the improvements he had this year. If Carlisle plays him, he looks good. Sometimes he sits him out. There's a lot to be excited about this team. So if I'm a Pacers fan, I feel really, really good about how this team moves forward, and we kind of go from there. Bear with me, guys. I had to get that beverage. Josh, yeah. So they should have won the first game, but the Pacers' age showed. I completely agree. I thought Pat, we saved that for Sundays around here. We saved the Reds talk for Sundays. This is NBA talk that Nate and Chad let me do for some reason. Tonight, apparently, all by myself. So. It's brutal though, man. It's definitely brutal. City, yeah, that's right. City did go to the Pacers game. She says those Pacers games are memories I won't forget. I have never been to a game 7, and I need to do that. So I've been to elimination games before. I was at game 4 in 17. It was Paul George's last game with the Pacers when LeBron and the Cavs knocked him out. I was at that game. So that's the only time I've been to an elimination game. So hold on, Sydney. You know what? F it. I'm sending you something in the Slack right now. Come hang. All right. Just sent Sydney the link, so she's going to join us and talk a little hoops. I'm going to get her insight. I want to hear what she has to say about being in Indy for those 2 games. Most important question. Oh, wait. Game 7 was at the Garden. That's right. So, anyway. Yeah. This is Pat says I'm new here. Every time I think about the Pacers, I think of Mike Dunleavy. I think of Larry Bird. I love those Pacers teams he coached. They probably should have beat Jordan and the Bulls one of those years. That '98 team, they had him on the ropes, and couldn't close out game 7. So maybe they shouldn't have beat them, but you know what I mean. Mike Dunleavy. I think Mike Dunleavy Jr. is the general manager of the Golden State Warriors now, actually, funny enough. So that's, your your interesting fact of the day. All right, guys. So I think that's 10 minutes now we've got on the conference finals series so far. I think they've been all right. I'm hoping Indiana makes a comeback here. Um, I think Larry would want the Pacers to win. I did not think about that, Josh. I would hope he would, considering his former. Does he still have stake in the team? What's up, Ben? How are you, pal? Benny, you around to come join the show? I sent Sydney the link, so I'm waiting for her to come on and chat it up. But I'm there's a lot to get to, guys. We got firings of coaches we got to talk about. We've got all NBA rewards coming out. So this is going to be good. This is going to be fun. If I get someone to join me. All right, let's get to it. Let's talk about the Cavaliers news. JB Bickerstaff gets fired a week after they played their last game. And this has brought up a lot of controversy. So I kind of want to talk about it, kind of get people's thoughts here in the chat. Love to hear from you guys, get your opinions as well. Look, they lose to Boston, and a lot of people point out the fact that they did not have Mitchell and Allen. And that's fair. That's completely fair. But here's the thing. I think defensively, during his 4 years that he was the head coach of the team, they were tremendous. And I think he did a great job with reviving from the John Beilein era of how everything there just kind of went horrible. The fact he brought the locker room back together, he really developed Darius Garland and for him and his coaching staff. But in the 4 years that he was the head coach, they did, have 3 winning records, but they also were 23rd in the league in offensive efficiency. And you see when they're going against these Celtics teams in the playoffs and they can't match them bucket for bucket, that's where they're struggling. And I understand, again, no Mitchell, everyone's going to point that out. But Garland was not very good in that series. Max Strus had stretches, but I think that was kind of what they needed a lot more from him to kind of fill in that role. And then you have situations too where guys like Isaac Okoro are probably taking more shots than they should. It was just kind of a mess there. And I think that for them, I think it's the right call. And I can say that now as a resident Cavaliers fan. I'm bought in. What's up, guys? Hashtag all in. Yes, I know I'm wearing my Lakers stuff right now. I have a 2-year contract because that's how long LeBron's there. So once he's a free agent, I also am a free agent. So, but I got to go with my wife's family, taking me to games all the time. And that, like I said last week, the Rocket Mortgage Field House is just an amazing atmosphere. You fall in love with the place, man. You really do. So I think for them, there's now this opening of, I think they're an enticing team for coaching staff, for free agent coaches and assistants who are looking for head coaching jobs. I really do. It sounds like the game plan is Donovan Mitchell will be back at least next year. They don't know if it's going to be long-term or not, but it sounds like they'll have him for next year. You've got Evan Mobley, who made progress this year. And that was huge because it gives you something to look forward to. I think a healthy year, he's all defense if he doesn't miss much time. Pat says they should get Anderson Varejao to coach. I don't know about that. We talked last week about the reports that if they do resign Mitchell, Garland's going to ask for a trade. And I made the joke that if I'm Kobe Altman, I will take that trade any day of the week. And I probably still would. But I think that in that situation, they're going to have people who want him. The Spurs would absolutely love to have Darius Garland to go with Victor Wembanyama. He would be a really nice get for them. I don't know if he's the perfect fit, but compared to what they were playing at point guard last year, he would be excellent. Let's see here. Hey, friend. Sydney. Oh, I think she's frozen. Oh. You're breaking up.
Hi.
Hold on. All right, I think we got you. You good? We're good.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. All right. Well, welcome to the happy hour. Thanks for saving my ass.
I'm happy to be here.
What's the booze tonight? What are we drinking?
I am drinking on Palmer spiked half and half.
Nice. I like it. All right.
Lemonade
So,
tea thing.
I have seen those before. I need to have one still. All right. So we were just getting into the JB Bickerstaff news today. And this was talked about a little bit in the Slack today. So kind of want to get your thoughts here. My points I made were that, I know they were great defensively. I know that they lost this last series without two of their best players, but getting them to kind of get buckets was always a nightmare. They can never win in a shootout. And so I kind of agree with the decision to find someone else. It's not that I think he's a bad coach. I just think with where they're at and what they're trying to get to, I don't know if he's the guy to lead them there.
Yeah. And generally, from what I've seen in the past, most organizations will have a coach that'll get you there, get you from rebuilding to the playoffs, and then you'll have another coach that will then get you from you've made the playoffs and maybe you've won a series, but from that to then actually competing and being a championship contender, which honestly for the Cavs, it's all mute. It's all up to Donovan. It's all up to Donovan.
It is.
We can be a championship contender if Donovan comes back. But I am less I have my doubts if he decides that he doesn't want to sign that extension and we have to trade him.
Reports sound like he's at least going to be there next year. So I think I feel pretty good about that.
I mean, if he's here, then 100%.
Yeah, I mean, this is the biggest. I listened to the guys on Locked On Cavs the other day talking about this. And obviously, this is the Cavs' biggest free agent since LeBron in 2018. So this is something where they got to get it right. On the Garland end of things, before as you were coming on, we were talking about just kind of that situation. And I do think, obviously, if you pick between the two, you got to go Mitchell. And it's nothing against Garland. I didn't think he was very good in this playoff series. I think he held them back a lot. But I also think that he is a very skilled player. He's a former All-Star for a reason. And one of the teams he's been continuously linked to is the Spurs, where if I'm Cleveland, that's a team that could really, I would want to be a trade partner with for the sake of not this year. I mean, maybe this year if they want to, because the draft's awful. But I think that that's a team I'd want to partner with to try to get some draft equity. What are kind of your thoughts on Darius Garland? Do you guys have a situation where you would like to see him back with Donovan? Are you ready to move on from the duo? Where are you at?
So I'm honestly ready to move on from him. I very much agree that he's been good in the past. He can still be good. He had his moments this year, but not that many because he was injured a lot. He didn't really see the court too often until the playoffs. And then unfortunately for him, when he needed to really step up and be a big contributor, he wasn't here. I mean, he basically didn't show up. So, honestly, I don't feel like he offers enough shooting and enough non-playmaking wise for us to really keep him. Now, I would love to trade him to the Spurs. Get one of their first, because I don't know if they're going to be good yet next year or, even in 2 years, or even get one of those Hawks picks. Because who knows what's going to happen with the Hawks.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So I would definitely love to see him go there, and I think he would be a great playmaking guard to help Wemby. And I feel like he would be a big upgrade over one of the Jones brothers. It's not Tyus.
Trey,
I think, right?
Well, Trey and gosh, what's his name? The kid from Baylor. This sounds terrible right now. Was playing point guard. Jeremy Sohan. And it was like, he's not a point guard.
Yeah. Jeremy Sohan started the year at point guard, and it was terrible. Like, that set them back so far. It
very
was
much.
Awful.
Yeah, so Garland's definitely an upgrade. And I have to admit, too, one of the reasons I really like the idea of the Spurs as a trade partner is I would really love to see the Cavs get Malachi Branham just so they could be the franchise that has the two St. Vincent St. Mary kids pop to their program at some point. And I love Branham. I think he's awesome. I think that on a good team, if he has a good passer and you put him in the corner, he has an unstoppable resume in that circumstance. Pat asks, do you think LeBron will go back? Romantically, I would love nothing more. I think he should end his career with the Cavs, whether that's signing like a 1-day deal and he does like the whole thing, or it's one more year at the end of his career. But realistically, no. We talked about this a few weeks ago. I don't think that the Lakers are going to want to move on from him. Go ahead.
Yeah, 100%. Realistically, no. Now, do I want him to come?
Yes.
Do I want him to come? 100%. 100%. 100%. But I doubt it. And I don't, honestly, I think the only option for him to ever come back is going to be a 1-day sort of deal. Ceremony sort of thing. Because I don't think he has that much time left. And I feel like he's going to be with the Lakers next year. And then he's going to have like the 1 year with his kid, wherever his kid ends up, which that's an entire conversation for a different day. Because I don't think they play insane.
Together. I really don't think they end up playing together.
Really?
Yep. I think that all the reports that have come out of late is that, Bronny wants to stand on his own ground and be his own man. And LeBron wants to let him stand on his ground and be his own man and has a great situation with the Lakers. I don't think it happens. I think realistically, unless the Lakers draft him, which I don't know if they will with their second round pick. But I think he's getting drafted.
Have you seen the new... I'm sorry. I didn't mean to talk over you. But,
not at all.
Did you see the news that came out today about he is now the betting favorite to go first overall?
That's a little much.
That's much. End of the first round, second round, sure. But he's not lottery talent at this point. Like, you draft him to try to get LeBron at this point. If you're going that high, if you're doing that. And honestly, a team I could see doing that, Detroit.
For sure. Yeah. Maybe that's the kind of team he needs to play on. That's just kind of like, let him run loose and kind of develop as he goes, because I don't think he really is going to have that situation in a lot of other teams. And I think too, so you say he's not lottery talent, and I'm not saying you're wrong. Realistically in this draft, he's not. Yeah, realistically in this draft, there isn't some significant difference. There's not like there's not like the third guy and then there's this big drop in talent. Like, this draft is pretty like across the board. Guys like Alex Sarr are going to go number 1, who I could see being like a 7 point per game NBA scorer. I could see being a 16 point per game NBA scorer. No idea. No clue. But I think like in this case here with him, I don't know. I think Atlanta's a terrible place to play basketball. I don't think if I were him, I would not want to go play there. But I would probably have Rich Paul figure out how I can not be a Hawk if that's going to be the case.
100%. And you just don't know who's going to be a Hawk. You don't know who's going to be there because there's trade reports of Trae Young. There's trade reports of Murray. Like we talked to the Spurs, Murray. So who knows? Who knows who could be there? They could trade both of them. They could trade one. Who knows?
I wouldn't hate if Cleveland got Bronny.
What?
I wouldn't hate if Cleveland got Bronny. I wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't hate it either. They need some sort of backup guard. They need something because we have Karis LeVert at this point. Karis LeVert has been fine. He's been good. But outside of that, I'm sorry?
I said I love Karis.
Oh, yeah. Former Pacer, former Net.
Michigan Wolverine.
he's been good for us. But we need something aside from just him. We signed Max Strus to a multi-year deal last offseason. He's been okay. He's had his moments. I mean, he had the what was it, like half court three to beat the Celtics?
It was a 70-footer to beat the Mavs.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I forgot who it was against. But yeah, he's had his moments like that, and then he's had games where, just like any shooter, he gets streaky and he'll miss shots. And then we had the minivan, Georges Niang.
Heck yeah. I love me some Georges Niang. So this last year, so Strus shot 30. So last couple of years, he shot 35% from three. And when he left Miami, he was kind of more in that 40% range. His second to last year there. Yeah. So I think that's going to get back up. That's the kind of guy he is. Pat says Cleveland should sign LeBron and draft Jizzle James. Sure. Why not? It says sorry, Tim. I don't think people.
I mean, I don't think Jizzle's in the draft.
No. And plus, I think he's gonna have a pretty good team next year.
Yeah. UC's looking good. UC's looking good as of right now.
Yeah, they are. I think if I'm a UC fan, I'd be very excited.
Oh yeah. I mean, right. I'm a Dayton fan, so we're okay. I mean, we have Deron Holmes, who's in the draft right now, and that's like our one thing. If Deron comes back, we're going to be good. If not, then who knows?
I think he's going to go first round.
Oh, yeah. But secretly, as a Dayton fan, I don't want him to go.
That's true. That's very true. I mean, he might be a candidate for AP Player of the Year if he comes back, but
oh yeah.
Also, in this draft, anything could happen. Potential. I hate this game, but everyone does it, so I guess I have to do it. Candidates who can take JB Bickerstaff's job that makes sense. One that I keep seeing all the time, and I really like the fit, is Kenny Atkinson, former Nets head coach, almost Hornets head coach, but last minute decided not to take the job. Good thinking to stay in Golden State.
100%.
3 years now with Steve Kerr, has seen what it's like to win a title. Honestly, a guy that I thought got a raw deal in Brooklyn when KD and Kyrie went there and were like, we don't want to play for this guy. And then didn't want to play for Steve Nash, and then didn't want to play for Jacques Vaughn, and then you know the story. But I love Kenny Atkinson. I think he'd be a really good fit there. James Borrego would be one that's really nice. I saw he's the candidate for the Pelicans. And hold on, Sean is saying that I didn't send the link. I know for a fact I sent the link.
I mean, honestly, I don't know how I feel about James Borrego because from the limited that I've seen him as a coach, it's been, unfortunately, with a terrible organization in Charlotte. Right? Because he was their head coach. So I don't know because I don't know how much of that was just Charlotte and how much of that was him. I mean, there's the same few floating around everywhere for the openings. I mean, I wouldn't hate like a Frank Vogel. Wouldn't hate that. I don't know about JJ Redick. JJ Redick's out there.
Oh, he's getting the Laker job.
Oh, I hope so. Just for comedy's sake, because if it doesn't go well, it's going to be entertainment.
You know what? I've thought a lot about this.
Okay.
And it came up last week when we had Kevin on, but I don't think it's going to be terrible. I've got my reasons. Hold on a second. I think we got Sean finally here. Oh, I'll pull him off till he pops up. So let's do Udonis Haslam talk about this today. And the points he made a ton of sense. Hold on, we got you back. Hi.
Hello.
Where you been?
Sean. Hello?
Well, I went to a movie that ran extremely long. I thought it was a 2-hour movie. It was 2.5. You account for some previews, and here we are. 31 minutes late. I'm such a bum. I'm sorry.
It's all good, dude. We'll let it slide this time. You're here.
I'm here.
Yeah.
So what's going on?
We're just talking about JB Bickerstaff getting fired and his potential replacement candidates.
Ooh, who do we got? I just before we say anything, before we get to that part, why do we keep firing coaches that did a good job?
Did he?
I mean, did you see like what they were going up against at the end of the season there in the playoffs? Everybody got hurt.
Yeah, but they couldn't score when they had those guys.
Well, you know, could they
I don't know if you realize the idea of basketball is to score more points than the other team.
I know, but every single year we do this. It's just this coaching carousel. Like, stick with a guy for a little while. Just that's all I'm asking.
He had 4 years.
I mean, yeah,
let's go.
They stuck with him.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Well, let's just keep going. They. I don't know.
I don't know how much
That's
of it was
opinion.
on him, because the Cavs this year weren't set up great, because we already knew, or at least I knew as a Cavs fan, it wasn't really going to work. The 2-2-1 system with 2 ball handlers, 2 bigs, and 1 shooter, I felt like it wasn't going to work. Correct. Yeah, you're right, Pat. Not every coach is Steve Kerr.
No, but I think Kenny Atkinson will be really good there. I really do. I think like I said, he got a raw deal in Brooklyn because Kyrie and KD wanted to run the franchise. And they said, we can't play for this guy, which is silly considering what's the Brooklyn Nets success been since Kenny Atkinson left, besides Kevin Durant's foot being too close to the line. And I think he'd be really good there. Luke Walton's on staff. I don't think he's the answer. I think he could be a really great assistant, but I don't think he's elevating them.
He's been a good assistant. He's been a good assistant so far, but I watched him with the Lakers. I watched him with the Kings. No, thank you. No, thank you. I'm going to pass on him being a head coach, at least for us. I'm not interested in that. I am not interested. I've seen enough of that. No, I'm good. Give me some Kenny Atkinson. Give me some Frank Vogel. You know, give me some of that. Someone who has some experience with winning a title. And then we can go from there.
I mean, Borrego was in the Spurs staff that won a title, so. All right. Yes. So my before Sean came on, I was saying that the more I've thought about it, the more I've listened to people talk about it, I don't think JJ Redick would be a nightmare as a head coach of a team. I don't.
You've gotten talked into it?
I just listen to like other players talk about it who know him and 2 are far more intelligent about this stuff than we are. And the point they've made at this point in the NBA is that every team is kind of just looking for this kind of guy. This kind of basketball savant who just eats, sleeps, and shits basketball and doesn't care about anything else but basketball, which isn't true. He's a family man. He's a successful podcaster. Very good at it, by the way. And I think Behind the Game is like my favorite podcast in the world, just because it's not like, should this guy get traded to this guy? And it's just basketball concepts. It's just like learning the game. And
it also helps that he gets really, really, really good guests.
They do. Yeah, they do for sure. But the point that I listened to, Udonis Haslem made this point on the OGs, and I thought it was a great one. And I heard Shane Battier say the same thing. It's at this point, when you're a head coach in the NBA, where you're at now, it's just about getting guys to want to play for you. If they want to play for you, they're going to work. They're going to work hard. Yeah. So if it's the Lakers, I think that, him bringing that energy is going to be something that's going to be really big. And obviously, like him and LeBron, they think of basketball the same way. I hope they still do the podcast when he gets the job. That would be great. I can't promise it. Chris Paul apparently is looking at joining this team too, which if he signs to the Lakers, for a fact JJ Redick is coaching this team. It's a guarantee. It's a guarantee.
Yeah.
But his offensive mind is great. JJ Redick was necessarily not a great defender, obviously, between college and the pros, but is a guy who knows defensive concepts. So if he gets these guys to buy in and work hard, I think he'll do fantastic. But if we have another situation where guys aren't buying in, like it could be bad. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's a guy who's gonna make sure like everyone buys in, and he's going to get people excited. And listen to him on commentary, listen to his podcast. He's great. He knows the game.
Well, and you look at someone like, like a former player like Ty Lue, who was made a really good NBA coach, wasn't the best NBA player per se by any degree, but he understood the game and he understands player relations. So, and I feel like JJ Redick's going to do the same thing. If he gets put that in, he's going to be able to play all those channels and everything. And I heard a rumor today that the Lakers are quote unquote looking at him as like a Pat Riley type guy, with that kind of skill set as a coach. So I don't know. Whatever. Sign me up. Lakers need to do something.
Yeah, I think it'll be good. All right. So, anything else you want to touch on this coaching stuff before we move on to the All NBA teams?
Let's go.
I mean, I thought the hiring Phoenix hired, who was it? Budenholzer?
Bud.
Bud. I thought that was a great hire for them. I think Bucks shouldn't have gotten rid of him. That was a mistake.
We're seeing that right now.
Mm-hmm.
But, well, yeah, interested to see how that works out for them. And obviously interested to see who the Cavs end up getting, and if there's any more movement. But yeah.
I'm with you, my friend. All righty. Let's go ahead and let's get into the All NBAs here. I'm trying to pull up the list. Here we go. Thank you, NBA.com, for coming to the clutch. How detailed do we want to get here? Do we want to go through like how many votes they got, or do we just want to read the teams and give our thoughts? Who was over who?
Let's just go over our votes. That's fine. Let's go.
Okay. All right. So first team is Giannis, Luka, Shea, Nikola Jokic, and Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum, the only American player who's on first team All NBA. So pretty fascinating. Second team, Jalen Brunson, Anthony Davis, Kevin Durant, Anthony Edwards, Kawhi Leonard. Third team, Devin Booker, Steph Curry, Tyrese Halliburton, Domantas Sabonis, and LeBron James. So, voting wise, kind of interesting. No one on that got first team got third place votes, but Jason Tatum had 34 second team votes. Jalen Brunson just underneath him, and Jalen and first team votes. LeBron got a first team vote. Shocking, I know. Sabonis got a first team vote. I'm reading all this off my phone, by the way, guys. I was not prepared.
No,
so.
Go for it.
And Anthony Davis got one first place vote, 65 second place votes, and 30 third place votes. So
interesting.
I think I'll start with, I don't have an issue with the 15 guys who were selected. But I will say, I do think there are people who had better seasons than guys like Curry and Booker. I think you could have definitely made a case for De'Aaron Fox, much like you could have for the All-Star game. I think you could have made a case for Jaylen Brown, who was awesome this year. He was awesome. I hate the Celtics, and I'm saying that. But I'm not going to have like some big controversial debate here of like why this guy didn't get it or this. Paul George was tremendous this year as well, and he did not make either of these three teams. But I don't think it's terrible. I think that it's really. I thought it was a good list.
I have no problems with any of this list. I think this is really the face of the NBA right now. So I like everybody here in the first team. Second, you said Jalen Brunson just barely missed out
on first team.
Okay, that doesn't surprise me. He had a hell of a year.
He was great.
Really cool. That would have been really, really cool if he would have made that. But that's getting second team, still awesome. So
yeah,
I mean, he was an MVP candidate. A little bit farther down the list, but yeah, definitely like top 5 MVP candidate in my opinion.
Yeah, you guys have the game on right now.
Most
Siakam's going nuts.
I mean, it's a good day for people who bet his over on points. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, he
If
looks
he
good.
continues to do that. But I mean, my biggest shocks were Sabonis getting the first place vote, getting like a first team vote. Like he also got all defense vote, and I just want to know who's this person? Who's doing it? Because it's obviously the same person. Obviously, the one person who's doing it. Like who's this Sacramento person, or who's this Serbian? Like, just come clean. Just let us know who you are. I'm just interested in this. Who did it? And then, like you can make the conversation for Jaylen Brown to make it over Curry, like you said. And then, honestly, I was surprised Kawhi was healthy enough to make it.
Yeah, I was too.
I was thinking if anyone was going to get killed by the 65 game rule, it was going to be Kawhi. But obviously, he was healthy enough for the regular season, and then went missing. He had to fit his injury in somewhere, and unfortunately, it was the playoffs.
Like clockwork.
So absolute clockwork.
Sydney, you bring up a really good point in the 65 game rule, because if Donovan Mitchell plays 10 more games, there's no way he's left off the list. He was awesome this year. He was tremendous. So he played 55 this year. Joel Embiid obviously was the MVP candidate before he got hurt. Like, he was the MVP of the league before he got hurt. You can make the case. And so that definitely hurts, because he played, I think, 57, I think is the game amount. I don't have that right in front of me. But that's kind of where we're at now. And truthfully, I love this. I think that players should be rewarded for being on the court. The best ability is availability, right? We hear people say that all the time. It's a cheesy sports thing, but it's the truth. So I think that this was, I liked how they broke it down. I love the 65 game rule that you have to qualify for awards with that. And I think that it played out really well. Josh, I saw, man, Spicy P can't miss right now. He has looked very good. They're back in this game. They're only down 4. So
I love it.
Come on, Pacers. Anyone but the
Let's
Celtics.
go. Come on. But I'm very interested to see how this 65 game rule goes as the years go on, because you're going to have more people who get on these all NBA teams, in my opinion, and then you're going to have more people who are eligible for max contracts.
That's right. Yeah, it's going to be interesting for sure.
That's the biggest thing to me, and that was the biggest thing I immediately thought of after they announced that rule. Is, all right, in like, let's say 2, 3, 4 years, how are certain teams going to deal with it? Deal with having guys who are eligible for max contracts that they might not want to give them.
That's true. That's a great point. The Bucks are going to be like, "Can we sit Giannis 3 more games just because?"
They will.
We don't want to give him a bonus.
His knee is bothering him
again.
Yeah, for the 3rd time this week. I think that's a great point, and I really am interested to see how that works. All right, let's. We haven't done this in a couple weeks, just because with the playoffs we've been a little preoccupied. But let's bring back a little starting 5 segment this week, shall we, folks? Our starting 5 this week, we are drafting. We're doing our top 5 list each of the best basketball commercials. So when I brought this into the Slack chat today, our guest of honor here, Sydney, brought up the point. I was just thinking of like Nike commercials and NBA campaigns. And Sydney brought up SportsCenter commercials that I totally forgot about, that were just incredibly fantastic spots to have during games that you would always laugh at. So that just opened the door even more to all these different ones. They're great. And so there's a lot to choose from. Seeing all of our lists is going to be really interesting. We'll go this route. So I'll give you both the wraparounds. How's that? So, and Sydney, since you're the guest of honor, you can have first pick. Or Sean, would you prefer to have second pick?
I'll take second pick. It's fine.
Okay, so Sydney gets first. Sean goes second. I go third. I'll go in the wraparound. Everyone gets 5 commercials. Sydney, you're up first.
So I'm gonna have to go with the one I immediately brought up in chat because that's my favorite of the Sports Center ones. Um, it is the Steph Curry one. While he is going down like the ESPN lunch, like dining
In the
hall line,
cafeteria.
and keep saying that they made Curry because of him, because he achieved certain point totals, and then the guys are clueless. Like whoever you are, like I love it.
I forgot about that
And this
one
was
until you brought it
prime
up.
Curry back.
Yeah, this is like MVP year. This is his first MVP
Oh, yeah.
year. This commercial comes out. Yeah, I do love that one. All right, Sean.
All right, so when do we clarify best basketball commercials? Could this be a commercial with just a basketball player? Does it have to be about basketball?
Yeah,
Okay. All right. Well. All right. If we're gonna pick actual like a commercial basketball, I'm gonna go with the Nike Charles Barkley ad.
I'm not a role model.
I am not a role model. Yeah, he said, I get paid to wreak havoc on the basketball court. Parents should be role models. Just because I dunk a basketball, it doesn't mean I should raise your kids. Which, come on. Like, that was
Incredible.
so off the wall back then. It's incredible. And also, Barkley had some underrated shoes.
Yes,
Like,
he
I'm gonna
did.
be honest. I got a
Yes,
pair
he
of them
did.
in the trunk of my car right now.
CB94s, man. One of my all-time favorite. All right. Well, I get the wraparound here. So I get to basically take my two favorite players of all time back to back here. Thanks for setting me up, guys. So, of course, I got to go with the introduction Little Penny commercial that aired during the Super Bowl when Penny was hosting a party with Tyra Banks and multiple other. Ken Griffey Jr. is in the commercial, and it's a fantastic one where they basically announced the line, and it's kind of like the breakout of Chris Rock. I mean, I know he was on SNL, but this was like the explosion of Chris Rock. So the Little Penny Super Bowl commercial is an elite one. I had the doll, and I regret not having it anymore because it goes for a lot of money now.
They're hard to find.
Yeah, I look for one all the time.
Yeah, they're, and if you do find one, the pull string or something doesn't usually work. So
yeah,
yeah,
it's a favorite. And then, this was kind of a tricky one. I was going back and forth between the Jordan Bird McDonald's commercial and this one, the four LeBrons. It's when he's training in the pool and he's like, there's old man LeBron. He's like, you think Michael was training in the pool? And you've got kid LeBron doing like a cannonball next to athlete LeBron, and you have the businessman LeBron on the phone, like, and he's like, he's not gonna jump in the pool. He just want to get his hair wet, and he does like the 4 like backflips into the water. It's the advertise for the Nike LeBron 4 shoe. It's fantastic. It's incredible. So I'm gonna go Little Penny and the 4 LeBrons.
Okay. All right. Am I back up again?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. Well, you kind of already ruined it, but I am going to go ahead and take the classic Showdown McDonald's commercial with Bird and Larry. That's one I actually remember seeing when I was a kid. That was just an incredible. You don't look at those kind of things like, like legendary at the time, and it's like, man, like those two guys in a commercial, in the 90s, just amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that commercial. The whole like when they're like, have you seen this commercial, Sydney? I know you're very young, so
I have not.
All right, so it's a horse game, and they're like doing this full thing that's like off of the roof, 2 bounce into the basket, and the loser is to get the other person McDonald's. It's fantastic. It's a great commercial. Definitely worth checking out. Yeah. All right, Sydney. So you have the wraparound here in this snake draft. You got 2.
Okay. So with my first I guess my second pick, I am going to go with the Jeremy Lin Sports Center commercial. I very much liked that one, where he is helping Scott Van Pelt spell. Thought that one was pretty good. And then you brought this up in Slack earlier, and I'm gonna have to steal it from you. But I very much liked him sitting in LeBron's chair.
Oh, SVP.
That commercial was pretty good. Yep. Those are like all of mine. Like the majority of mine that I think are any good are going to be the SportsCenter ones because a lot of the ones I know nowadays aren't really that great. So
true. I do love these SportsCenter ones.
Yeah.
All right, am I back up?
You're back up.
All right, so you took the 8 LeBrons,
The 4 LeBrons, yeah.
4 LeBrons. All right. I'm gonna take the LeBron James "What Should I Do" commercial from when.
Oh my god! I forgot about that one.
So good. Like that was like some of the most brilliant marketing of the last 20 years, and because he took so much flack at the beginning of that, so that was just I thought that was like a great way to kind of weather the storm.
Yeah, and then South Park mimicked it on an episode.
They did. Give them props.
That one's so good. I forgot about that one. Damn you. All right. So I can't not take a Michael Jordan commercial, right? Like that's like against the rules. So I believe this was for the Jordan 11s. No, Jordan 12s. It's the one when everything freezes as he's in the air, he takes a shot, and it's like they show people in Chicago, and it's like the commercial's like Michael Jordan about to take the shot, and it's like, and everything's like frozen in Chicago, and you just see like the whole world's kind of like focusing on what he's doing. It's legendary. We should have made like a YouTube playlist so we could put all these in. I'll do that so people can watch these.
Good idea.
Yeah, because now that we're monetized, I can't just show them on the screen anymore.
Sure. Now I understand.
Yeah.
We have rules.
All right. This is a tough one too. I know this is once again a Nike commercial. So there's of course the one with the bouncing the basketball that makes like the rhythm. That's like incredible. But do you remember the Richard Jefferson Vince Carter commercial?
Oh yeah.
Where they were like trading off dunks.
Yep.
That's like super underrated. And I think for my last pick, I'm going to have to find a way to go away from a Nike commercial because I took 4 of them. So I got all the Nike ones. Sydney's got all the SportsCenter ones.
I'm going to pull one completely out of my butt in a minute, but
well, you're up.
I'm up. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So this is my 4th pick, I believe. So
wait,
no, it's got to be 4th. There's no way.
Okay, so you had, hold on, recap here.
Barkley.
Yep.
LeBron.
Yep.
And then, okay. Yep. So I had 3. So this is 4. Here we go. All right. I am going to, I'm going to go with the 1990, I think it was 1994 Reebok commercial that Shaq put out where he gets, he ends up getting tested by four other centers. And I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
I forget
Wilt,
who they were. Yeah.
Kareem.
Wilt. Yeah.
And Russell.
Yep. Yeah. So getting all those guys in a Reebok commercial back then, just crazy. Absolutely crazy. So
that's a good one. I like that one. All right, Sid the Kid, you got 2. This rounds out your draft, actually. Yeah. 4 and 5.
All right. So am I going back to back?
Yep. You're rounding out your draft here.
Or am I just doing one? Okay.
No, you got
so
it's a snake.
You know,
do you guys
I'm just
play
gonna have
fantasy
to do the
sports?
all SportsCenter one. I do. So I liked the Dwight Howard as Clark Kent sort of Superman deal. That SportsCenter one. I very much liked him. You know, his nickname was Superman.
I forgot about that.
Loved it. Fit perfectly. That was good. And then there was the Kobe trash talking one. Was really good too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, those are going to be My favorites, as if Kobe needs to learn how to trash talk. One of the greatest to ever do it, man.
I forgot. I freaking love those. I was so close to picking the Kobe System one, but it has Kanye West in it, so I couldn't put it on my A list.
All right,
Yeah.
am I up? Is this
I
it?
You're up.
I can
This is it.
understand that.
All right, this is my fun pick, and it's loosely
Yeah.
related. So I'm gonna go with the 1997 Snickers commercial that Georgie Mirasan did to mock Jordan Cologne, and it's him standing on like a QVC holding a bottle that has his silhouette, and he goes, "You want to smell like me?" And it's just one of the greatest commercials ever, and me and my mother have quoted it for years. It's so freaking funny. So that's my last one. Just had to throw a fun one in there.
Yeah, because I was going to do a fun one as well, just to get away from my Nike trend here. So we've talked about SportsCenter. We talked about all these Nike great campaigns. A company that has fantastic commercials every year, they're super underrated, is Foot Locker. When they do the Week of Greatness, which is around the holiday season, just advertise like a big shoe deal. So there is one particular that I will forever laugh at, and it's Derrick Rose and Tim Duncan are on the phone, and Derrick Rose calls Tim Duncan. He's like at the gym. He's like, I'm going to call Timmy. We got to talk about this. He's like, Tim, it's Foot Locker Week of Greatness. And they flash to Tim Duncan. He's sitting on a couch and he's like, that's so crazy. I can't believe it. I just tipped over my plant and excitement just like hits the plant. And they cut back to Derrick Rose. He covers the phone. He goes, he never is this excited. It's so freaking good. Oh my God. It's so freaking good.
I've never seen that. I'm gonna have to look that one up. That's
I'll send
hilarious.
it to you. It's
Okay.
fantastic. Kyrie had some really good Foot Locker commercials too. But we obviously miss like the big one. I kind of mentioned it earlier, but like that Nike basketball ad when they did the thing where everyone's dribbling and it's like making the music is legendary. We missed every Gatorade commercial. I mean, Like Mike is goated.
Yeah.
It's like one of the greatest campaigns of all time. LeBron's Powerade commercial when he's shooting the 75-foot shots in Boston at the Garden.
Oh yeah.
It came out around the same time they had the Michael Vick one when he threw the football out of the stadium.
Yep.
Dwight and LeBron had a McDonald's commercial mimicking the Jordan Bird one.
Yep.
It was
I
dunking.
remember that. Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah. There's so freaking many, man. But like, this kind of proves my point though, that like basketball players are the most marketable athletes in the world. And I'm going to stand by that because football players wear helmets, so it makes it a lot harder. But yeah, man, this is great. And then, so Sydney, there was a SportsCenter one. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but Kobe's rookie year, it's him and Keyshawn Johnson, the wide receiver of the NFL. They're sitting in a room, and Stuart Scott's talking to them about like how to properly talk to the media. And instead of it being like, I'm really looking forward to playing tonight. He's like, no. He's like, you got Jordan tonight, Kobe. You're not going to talk about how excited you are. You're going to say that you're going to put it in his face. You're going to take care of business. Legendary. It's so good. I love it so much. I'm going to go watch some of these now because this game's getting out of hand. Sorry, Josh, and all our Pacer fans in the house. But hey, we somehow kept the happy hour under an hour. It's literally an hour show.
Sorry, I came in so late, guys.
It's all good, buddy. It's all good.
Hey, it's all right. I mean, I was having
holding
a
down
good
the
time.
fort.
I mean, I held down the fort.
You did.
Pacers have had a good run. I mean, I was able to make it to a couple other games. That was fun.
Oh yeah. All right, we're
gonna
gonna go over
be
an hour. Tell me
make it
about that.
more of them. Yeah.
How was
the first game I went to? What? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
How was Gainbridge? I've been there for playoff games and it's fun. But how was it this series?
Oh, it was, at least for the Knicks series, was electric. Was amazing. I loved it. I do have to say, one thing that I didn't like was all of the F the Pacers, not the Pacers, but F the Knicks chants that were starting out. after we won. Not a big fan of saying that about the other team, but it's going to happen. I mean, I got
those
to
teams
see
have
a couple of
history,
fights
though.
because of that. But yeah, it was cool. First game I went to was the Andrew Nebhard, just insane shot that he hit.
I love Andrew Nemhard.
I was not expecting that to go in at all because he had been shooting terribly that game. And I'm like, all right, here goes a prayer. Oh my God, he hit it. How? He hasn't hit anything all game, and he hits this? Okay. So that was amazing. That was insane. And then, I was able to go to game 6. Which wasn't as
I see you, Josh.
I love that, Josh.
When Josh Hart goes up to him and says, like, I don't know if you can hear what they're saying. That was perfect.
But yeah, it was insane. It was nice. I mean, I wish I could have gone to game 7, but that was all the way out in New York, and tickets for that were so expensive out in New York. But it was insane. It was an insane atmosphere. I mean, as a Cavs fan, I wasn't able to go to any of their games against the Magic just because that is like 4 hours away from me. And Pacers are much closer. And I'm a big Obi fan, so I'm like, I'm just here rooting on Obi.
You UD Flyer people.
Yeah, Dayton Flyer. One of 2 in the NBA, about to be 3.
That's right.
So,
if you've never been, the point that we're making here is if you've never been to an NBA playoff game,
we'll see.
Oh, didn't mean to talk over you. I apologize.
Have to go.
Yeah. If you've never been to an NBA playoff game, gotta experience one. It's the best atmosphere. Even the series is kind of lopsided, it's still fantastic to be at. I've now been to 3, and it's some of my favorite experiences I've had as a sports fan. But hey, with that being said, we're going to go and close out this week's edition of the NBA Happy Hour, brought to you by the Riverfront and Blue Wire. So thank you all as always for tuning in. If you are not already, please subscribe to our channel. If you are, please like this video. Helps us go a long way in LG Rhythm, not talk about the villain from Space Jam: A New Legacy. As always, whatever podcast app of choice you're using to check out Riverfront U, please give a moment to give us a subscription or a review. It goes a long way for our channel. And of course, if you are around July 6th, come party with the Riverfront at Smoke Justice from 12 to 2 p.m. Before we go watch, I don't know, at that point, maybe the 30 games under 500 Cincinnati Reds play the Detroit Tigers. But we'll save that talk for Sunday on Late Night Reds with myself and Ben Brown. As hopefully maybe we'll have a game again. Well, they'll win the day we do a show. That'd be ideal. Look at that. City rocking the gear. Check out Riverfront Red Show as they're going to be live the same day we are. Check out Welcome to the Jungle with Parker and Joe. And then, of course, check out Red Leg Roundtable with Seth, who had a really awesome guest this week, former Cincinnati Red, Scott Sullivan. All right, guys, we're going to go wrap up. Have a good night. We'll see you next week.
Bye.